Well, guys, it's that time of the year again. It is time for World Wonder Ring Stardom's annual tournament, the 5-Star Grand Prix. And you probably clicked on this video wondering, what is the 5-Star Grand Prix? Who's in it? How's it gonna go? And who should I be betting on to win the tournament? All good questions, and I promise to answer them all in this video. But before we do that, make sure you smash that like button and hit the subscribe button so that way the algorithm knows to push this content up to other people, because I plan on reviewing the 5-Star Grand Prix. I want to make sure a lot of people know about it, so do me a favor, I'll do you a favor. So I know the first thing you're probably going to ask is, Tyler, what is the 5-Star Grand Prix? Well, I'm glad you asked. The 5-Star Grand Prix is an annual round-robin tournament held by the promotion World Wonder Ring Stardom, where an even number of female wrestlers are divided into two separate blocks, Red Stars and Blue Stars. Within their blocks, the wrestlers all fight each other at least one time. Matches are contested under normal Japanese wrestling rules, 20 count outside the ring, leniency on pushing the rules, and a 1 fall to a finish. In this tournament, the match can be won by pinfall or submission, one of the two outcomes resulting in 2 points for the winning wrestler, while the loser receives 0 points. There is, however, a possibility of a time limit draw in which both wrestlers will receive 1 point. And on the final day of the tournament, the wrestler with the most points from Red Stars and Blue Stars will face off against each other in a no time limit final match, where the winner of that match will be crowned the winner of the 2021 5-Star Grand Prix and will be granted a shot at the World of Stardom Championship at the request of the challenger. Participating in this year's tournament, we have the following women: Mina Shirakawa, Kaguma, Natsu Poi, Micah, Starlight Kid, Saki Kashima, Fukujin Death, Mayu Iwatani, Motonabe, and Julia, all representing Red Stars. We also have Takumi Aroha of Marvelous, Ruka, Unagi Sayaka, Konami, Ozumi, Micah, Sayakamatani, Siori, the Wonder of Stardom champion Tam Nakano, and the World of Stardom champion herself, Yutaka Hayashida, all representing Blue Stars. And now that we know who's in the tournament, let's talk a little bit about these women, what block they're in, and what is the likelihood of them winning it. We're going to start things off here with Oedo Tai's very own Fukujin Death. Though a 20-year veteran in the wrestling business, she is not the highest ranking wrestler in Stardom. I would even say she's far back of the line. Not to say she's not good in the ring, but she's often portrayed as the comedy character. Prior to her gimmick as the evil, sad clown that she is now, she was a happy clown for Stars, and prior to being a happy clown, she was a, I don't know, should I just say a Kiss fan? And being in a block with women of her own faction and other factions she's been feuding with, she has potential to have some really fun matches. However, her likelihood of winning is a 0 out of 10. I think there's a likelihood that Fukujin Death will play spoiler in this tournament. For those of you not aware what the term spoiler means, it basically means someone who is not intended to win but is intended to ruin the tournament for others. I think there's a good chance she will accrue at least 6 points, all those points being to people who are most likely to win, with key matches to look out for: Mayu Iwatani and Starlight Kid. Next, coming out of Oedo Tai is Saki Kashima. And while she's never done anything in the ring for me personally, she is very good in the ring. She can be very consistent in the ring and has likely of a chance to get some wins. However, I think her chances of winning are very low. I would say as low as Fukujin Death's 0 out of 10. And much like her predecessor, I think she has a good chance of playing spoiler, accruing maybe 2 to 4 points based off of people who have likely a chance to win the tournament. Key matches to look out for: Mayu Iwatani. And last but absolutely not least, representing Oedo Tai, is Starlight Kid. Fresh off her heel turn and her allegiance to the faction, I believe that she is the most fascinating wrestler entering in this entire tournament. While this is only her second 5-Star Grand Prix, Starlight Kid is a high-speed wrestler at heart who can fly around the ring and can ground you at any point in time. She's one of the brightest stars of Stardom, and with her being the topic of discussion coming out of a lot of Stardom's latest shows, I think there's a great chance she could actually go very far in this year's tournament. She is also the youngest of her block, and due to the whole veteran aspect in Japan, there is a chance she may not accrue as many points as I'm going to predict here, but I'm going to say she could get anywhere from 8 to 10 points, with a likelihood of winning being a 7 out of 10. Starlight Kid was involved in the faction Stars for many years, and her joining Oedo Tai, that gives her a lot of fresh opponents to go up against. Her key rivals in here: Motonabe, Julia, and of course, Mayu Iwatani. Crossing into Donald Del Mundo territory, we have the Jumbo Princess herself, Himeka. Himeka is the powerhouse of Stardom and is likely to throw you around at any point in time given who you are. She may not be the flashiest in the ring and she may not even be the best of her faction, but she is a force to be reckoned with in this tournament. Going as far as to be a finalist in last year's 5-Star Grand Prix, which was also her first, I think she is somebody you should not be sleeping on, and I would say there is a very high chance of even making it to the finals of this year's tournament again. I'm going to predict she can get anywhere from 8 to 10 points, with the likelihood of winning the entire thing a 3 out of 10. I said she can make it to the finals. I said nothing about her winning the entire tournament. With her key rivals, Natsu Poi, Julia, and Momo Watanabe. Natsu Poi of Donald Del Mundo enters in her very first 5-Star Grand Prix as the smallest of not only the block, but of the entire tournament. Though she is the smallest, she is arguably the quickest of the entire roster. She can use that to her advantage and run circles just around anybody in this block if she truly wanted to. And with her being in the same block of a high-speed veteran like Starlight Kid, she's ought to have some bangers. I don't see her having the same luck of her tag team partner Himeka last year and going very far. I'm going to say she gets maybe 6 points at best, with a likelihood 2 out of 10. But key matches to look out for: Starlight Kid, Himeka, and Julia. And next, we gotta talk about Julia, the leader of Donald Del Mundo and the woman who has had a stranglehold on the main event scene for quite some time, really since her debut in Stardom. Julia is, in my opinion, one of the top prospects to win the entire thing. Not only is she good in the ring, but she knows how to navigate around it and get just about anything she wants out of her opponents. She may not be my favorite, but there is no denying that she is an absolute favorite to win the entire thing. And if you had to put money down on one person, I think that person in the red block should be Julia. I'd say she's likely to get 10 to 12 points, likelihood of winning 9 out of 10. With key rivals to look out for: Starlight Kid, Himeka, Natsu Poi, and Mayu Iwatani. Representing Cosmic Angels as the only member in Red Stars, we have Mina Shirakawa, one of the 3 current Artists of Stardom Tag Team Champions, with her faction mates Unagi Sayaka and Tam Nakano. Her being on the block by herself in the first tournament is a bad predicament, but I don't think she's going to be on the likelihood of a Saki Kashima or Fukujin Death, as she has recently just won the Future Stardom Championship and is currently holding gold herself. I could see Mina Shirakawa easily getting 6 points in this block, with a likelihood 2 out of 10 to win. Key rival to look out for: Momo Watanabe. Speak of the devil and she shall appear. Representing Queen's Quest, we have Momo Watanabe. Declared future ace by many, Momo Watanabe is the true heart of Stardom and is one of the best women's wrestlers in the world today. The only sad thing about Momo going into this tournament is that she's been on a very bad losing streak since really last year, losing just about all of her big matches and has not picked up a big one in quite some time. With her having 4 5-Star Grand Prix in her belt, she could have the potential to come out of nowhere and win the entire thing, but I don't think that's a good chance of happening. Phenomenal talent, but currently not phenomenal at winning. I think she has a chance of getting 6 to 8 points in this block, with a likelihood 5 out of 10. Key rivals to look out for: Mayu Iwatani, Himeka, Mina Shirakawa, and Starlight Kid. And waving the flag of stars is the returning Kaguma. Now, I don't know much about Kaguma because I was not watching Stardom at the time when she was active. But what I can tell you is that she is the current confidant of Mayu Iwatani. After what seems like everybody in her faction has turned on her and joined the Wedo Tai, Saki Kashima, Starlight Kid, Fukujin Death, you name it, she seemingly brought Kaguma out of retirement and recruited her back into Stars, and they've been running a tag team just about ever since. So far, Kaguma's biggest win being a pinfall victory over Julia, which led into a tag team championship match. From what I've seen, Kaguma definitely has some ring rust if she was a good wrestler at one point, and I think this tournament is a good way for her to really get her graces back and dust herself off and show what she is capable of. I wouldn't go as far as to say that Kaguma is a spoiler, but I think she's going to be pretty mid in this tournament. I see her getting anywhere from 4 to 6 points, with a likelihood 3 out of 10 to win. Key rivals: Julia and Mayu Iwatani. And finally, representing Stars, we have the Stardom icon herself, Mayu Iwatani. A woman with a record 6 5-Star Grand Prix under her belt and a winning one in 2018. Highly regarded as one of the greatest wrestlers in the entire world and capable of putting on 5-star matches with just about anybody. Mayu Iwatani, though currently not in the main event scene like she usually is, also has a high % chance of winning, much like Julia. I predict her getting anywhere from 10 to 12 points in this block with a likelihood 8 out of 10. Key rivals, really just about anybody and everybody in this tournament. Now with red stars down and out the way, let's talk about blue block. Kicking things off here in blue block, representing Oedo Tai, we have Ruka. Ruka is one of the youngest wrestlers in Stardom, often referred to as one of the rookies of Stardom. Many will say that Ruka is the least talented of the entire Stardom roster, and I don't think they're entirely wrong, but she is improving since her pairing with Oedo Tai. Do I think she should have been in this tournament? Not necessarily. But when it comes to a tournament, there always has to be somebody who has to lose to just about everybody, and I think Ruka is that person. I easily see Ruka being the one in here to take L's for everybody to reassure that everyone has at least over 4 points. Likelihood of winning, 0 out of 10. Key rivals to look out for, Konami. Also of Oedo Tai, we have Konami, one of the stiffest strikers and technically sound wrestlers of the faction. Though being around in Stardom for quite some time and this not being her first rodeo in the 5-star Grand Prix, even making it as far as the finals in 2019 with winner Hana Kimura, rest in peace, Konami is not really a high probability of winning. Her, much like Momo, she tends to choke up when it comes to these big matches. I predict she can get anywhere from 7 to 8 points with a likelihood 4 out of 10. Key rivals to look out for, Siori and Tam Nakano. Hopping back into Donald Del Mondo territory, we have the uprising just tap out queen herself, Micah. Though not the youngest in the tournament, Micah is one of the least experienced, only having wrestled for 2 years, much like Unagi Sayaka, who we'll be talking about in a short period of time. Micah walks into her second 5-star Grand Prix with some experience, but not enough to really say she's going to make it too far in this tournament. I could see her getting anywhere from 5 to 6 points with a likelihood 2 out of 10. Key rivals to look out for, Siori, Unagi Sayaka, and Tam Nakano. The final member of Donald Del Mondo entering in this tournament, but most certainly not the least, is Siori. Siori being one of the hottest names in Stardom right now, coming out of her 5-star classic with Yutaka Hayashida at Tokyo Dream Cinderella back in May. Siori is an all-around great performer, being a stiff striker, submission expert, and one of the best in-ring storytellers Stardom has. She's kind of flown under the radar these last 2 years, but is now starting to get some light shine on her, and I'm happy about it. I think given the story coming out of that match with Utami and her being the tag team champions with Julia, Siori, in my opinion, has one of the highest probabilities of winning this entire block, if not the entire tournament. I could easily see her getting anywhere from 10 to 12 points with a likelihood 9 out of 10 to win the entire thing. Key rivals to look out for, Micah, Konami, Unagi Sayaka, Yutaka Hayashida, and Takumi Aroha. Representing Cosmic Angels, you have the current Future Stardom Champion and 1/3 of the Artist of Stardom Champions, Unagi Sayaka. Though being just as experienced as Micah is, she has accomplished quite a bit of things here in Stardom for just a short period of time she's been here. Like I said, she's currently a double champion, and she was the winner of this year's All-Star Dream Cinderella match, and even made it to the semifinals of the Cinderella tournament. If we're talking about Unagi Sayaka as a wrestler, she is nothing special. But if we're talking about Unagi Sayaka, the character, and just how much she's accomplished so far, I think you would be kind of dumb to count her out of this tournament. While her chances aren't high, I think she definitely has a chance of going far. I see her getting anywhere from 6 to 8 points with a likelihood 4 out of 10. Key rivals to look out for, Micah, Tam Nakano, and Sayakamatani. Rounding out Cosmic Angels, we have the leader of the faction herself, the Stardom Dream, Tam Nakano. Coming into this tournament with 3 5-star Grand Prix of experience and the Wonder of Stardom champion, Tam Nakano is absolutely a force to be reckoned with. In my opinion, she is the best in-ring storyteller going today and one of the best wrestlers out there. And honestly, with the run she's been having this year, I would have pegged her easily to be the winner of the tournament until I realized she was in the same block as the world champion. Then my opinion kind of shifted. It is a very captivating choice of Stardom to put 2 of their biggest champions in the same block. Anything can happen, and any one of them can go very far, and either one of them can win that match when they eventually face off. Even though I kind of see a, time limit draw happening. Tam Nakano will not be counted out at all. I can see her easily getting anywhere from 9 to 11 points, with a likelihood 7 out of 10. Key rivals to watch out for, Konami, Siori, Unagi Sayaka, Sayakamatani, and Utami Hayashida. Representing Queen's Quest, you have the high-speed queen herself, the bomb girl, and in my opinion, the greatest wrestler going today under the age of 21, Azumi. With her high-speed experience and 2 5-star Grand Prix under her belt, Azumi is absolutely a top contender for this tournament. She's been on quite the winning streak as the year has gone on, and despite losing her high-speed championship to Natsu Poi earlier in the year, she is slowly becoming one of the rising stars in Stardom in terms of going from high-speed to really main event scene. Though she's not there yet, this tournament could be her skyrocket. And as much as I would love to say that Azumi has a high chance of winning it, I don't honestly see this being her year. I could predict that she'll get at least 8 points this block with a likelihood 5 out of 10. Key rivals to watch out for, Tam Nakano and Utami Hayashida. Also representing Queen's Quest, we have one of the fastest rising stars in Stardom, Sayakamatani. Seemingly skipping her high-speed graduation, Sayakamatani has slowly crept her way into the main event scene of Stardom, managing to get high-profile wins over some big names and even contend for both the World and Wonder of Stardom Championship in just 6 months. She may have yet to win gold and is entering in her second 5-star Grand Prix, but don't sleep on Sayakamatani. I don't think her push is over just yet. I could see her getting anywhere from 8 to 10 points with a likelihood 7 out of 10. Key rivals to watch out for, Siori, Unagi Sayaka, Tam Nakano, and Utami Hayashida. And we can't forget about the de facto leader of Queen's Quest and the champ that runs the camp, Utami Hayashida. A woman who really since day one has been very dominant in Stardom, even at one point being a quadruple champion, beating just about every big name in Stardom, and now is currently the World of Stardom champion. Utami Hayashida is really at her peak. Her being a finalist in her very first 5-star Grand Prix in 2018 and this being her third, I think it's very realistic to say that Utami Hayashida could be one of the very first women to win the 5-star Grand Prix as the world champion and decide who her opponent is going to be. Not my personal pick, but if you picked her, I wouldn't be mad at you. I predict Utami getting at least 10 points in this block with a likelihood of 8 out of 10, key rivals being Siori, Tam Nakano, Azumi, Sayakamatani, and Takumi Aroha. And the grand finale, representing the promotion Marvelous, is Takumi Aroha. Formerly of Stardom, Takumi Aroha is a good friend of Mayu Iwatani, returning last year to replace Siori after she was scheduled to face Mayu in the Stardom Way to Major League show back in February of 2020. Her and Mayu having one of the greatest matches of the year that ended with Takumi Aroha actually winning that match and getting a World of Stardom Championship match later in the year, which was also just as great as the first match. For those of you unfamiliar with Takumi Aroha, she is without a doubt one of the best all-rounded wrestlers going today. And with her having such a huge surplus of women to face off against, we are sure to have some amazing bouts in Blue Stars. She's a good part of the reason why a lot of people say Blue Stars is such a stacked block. I don't see her winning because she's not of the Stardom promotion, but I do think you're a fool to say that you don't think she's going to have a high chance of getting a lot of points. I can easily see Takumi getting anywhere from 8 to 10 points with a likelihood 5 out of 10. Key rivals, really anybody. All of her matches are going to slap really hard. That's a pretty strong lineup if you ask me. But now that we have all the wrestlers out the way, let's talk about the upcoming schedule for the 5-star Grand Prix. Now, I must start off by saying it is confusing for me as it will be confusing for you. Because unlike the G1 Climax where there's an even amount of matches each and every single day, each match being centered on a certain block, Stardom is very avant-garde with how they do their tournament. Rather than having one day blue block, one day red block, red stars, blue stars, they decide to have a few matches on one day for red stars, a few matches that same day for blue stars, and they interchange them as they go with uneven amount of matches. I don't get it. I don't know why they do it that way. It's hard to follow because if you're not paying attention, you don't know how many matches this person's had, you don't know if they're actually winning or not. Honestly, truly, you won't even really know who's winning up until the final day because that's when you know everybody's on their final match, which is part of the reason why I don't like the way that the 5-star Grand Prix is formatted. But I think a lot of people who watch these tournaments know that we're here for the matches and the finals is the best day to know and really scope out who's going to win this entire thing. As the tournament progresses, I'll do my best to really cover who's in the lead and who could possibly win it. But let's talk about the schedule. I will show off to you guys what that lineup is going to look like. And once we resume, I would then talk about what are the key matches you should look out for on each day of the 5-Star Grand Prix. On July 31st, you want to keep your eye out on Red Block as they have Julia vs Starlight Kid, Mayu Iwatani vs Momo Motonabe, and in Blue Stars, Siori vs Sayakamatani. On August 1st, you want to keep your eyes out on Mayu Iwatani vs Julia, and in Blue Stars, Utami Hayashida vs Sayakamatani, being a rematch from their All-Star Dream Cinderella show, and Siori vs Micah. On August 7th, you have Siori vs Azumi, and Tam Nakano vs Unagi Sayaka of Blue Stars. On August 8th of Blue Stars as well, you have Tam Nakano vs Sayakamatani, a rematch from the Tokyo Dream Cinderella, and Micah vs Unagi Sayaka, a rematch also from Tokyo Dream Cinderella. August 9th is not a very stacked show, but Konami vs Ruka should do something. On August 13th, look out for Julia vs Kaguma, Mayu Iwatani vs Natsu Poi, which is sure to be a banger, and Momo Motonabe vs Saki Kashima, all of Red Stars, and in Blue Stars, which is sure to be a match of the year contender, Sayakamatani vs Azumi. A dream match of mine if I do say so myself. August 14th of Red Stars, also of Blue Stars, you have Utami Hayashida vs Unagi Sayaka, which is sure to be the biggest match of Unagi's career, and honestly, this possibly has a chance to be a big spoiler match. On August 15th, make sure you zoom in on Mayu Iwatani versus Mina Shirakawa, and Sayakamatani versus Azumi. On August 21st, you have Julia versus Mina Shirakawa of Red Stars, and Azumi versus Konami of Blue Stars. On August 22nd, Himeka versus Mina Shirakawa of Red Stars, and Utami Hayashida versus Konami of Blue Stars. August 28th will bring us Mayu Iwatani versus Himeka, and Fukujin Death versus Kaguma. Spoiler versus spoiler potentially should be a really fun match. Keep your eye out on it. And Blue Stars for that day, Siori versus Tam Nakano, two of the best storytellers in Stardom going at it, and Konami versus Unagi Sayaka. August 29th is going to bring us Mayu Iwatani versus Kaguma, best friends going head to head, and also Red Stars, Momo Motonabe versus Starlight Kid, and in Blue Stars, Micah versus Takumi Aroha. September 4th, Momo Watanabe versus Fukujin Death of Red Stars, and in Blue Stars, we have Konami versus Takumi Aroha, and the rematch of big proportions, Utami Hayashida versus Siori. This is a must-watch match. September 5th, we have Momo Watanabe and Mina Shirakawa revisiting their small rivalry from earlier in the year, and Ruka versus Takumi Aroha, which is also sure to be Ruka's greatest match ever. On September 6th, Tag Team Turmoil, Himeka versus Natsu Poi of Red Stars, and in Blue Stars, Siori versus Konami, a rematch from All-Star Dream Cinderella, Sayakamatani versus Unagi Sayaka, and a dream match of mine, Tam Nakano versus Takumi Aroha. September 11th is sure to be the strongest day of the tournament potentially. You have Julia versus Natsu Poi, Mayu Iwatani versus Fukujin Death, and Momo Watanabe versus Himeka, all of Red Stars, and of Blue Stars, you have Micah versus Ruka, Utami Hayashida versus Azumi, and Sayakamatani versus Takumi Aroha. On September 12th, zoom in on Momo Watanabe versus Kaguma of Red Stars, and for Blue Stars, Unagi Sayaka versus Takumi Aroha, Sayakamatani versus Micah, and Tam Nakano versus Azumi. Two of my favorites going at it. I'm super amped for that one. September 8th, be sure to look out for Julia versus Fukujin Death of Red Stars, and in Blue Stars, Ruka versus Unagi Sayaka, and Azumi versus Takumi Aroha. September 20th will see Julia versus Himeka, Mayu Iwatani versus Saki Kashima, and Fukujin Death versus Natsu Poi, all of Red Stars. And in Blue Stars, Siori versus Unagi Sayaka, and a match of huge proportions, Utami Hayashida versus Takumi Aroha. Last time Takumi Aroha faced off against the World of Stardom champion in a non-title match, she won. So make sure you note that fact I just gave you, because that may play into this match. September 23rd, we have Kaguma versus Mina Shirakawa of Red Stars. September 25th will be the final day of the tournament, so I'll run down the card for you. Julia versus Motonabe of Red Stars, Mayu Iwatani versus Starlight Kid, Fukujin Death versus Saki Kashima, both of Red Stars, Micah versus Kaguma of Red Stars, and Natsu Poi versus Mina Shirakawa, also of Red Stars. And in Blue Stars, Ozumi versus Unagi Sayaka, Micah versus Konami, Sayakamatani versus Ruka, Siori versus Takumi Aroha, which should be amazing, and a champion versus champion match between Yutaka Hayashida and Tam Nakano, a must-see match. And now that we have all the important stuff squared away, let's talk about who I think is most likely to win this year's 5-Star Grand Prix. I have come down to a Red Star winner, a Blue Star winner, and an Ultimate Tournament winner. For Red Stars, I think Julia is coming out the winner. I'm honestly shocked she didn't make it that far in last year's 5-Star Grand Prix. This year, however, orange-haired Julia, short-haired Julia, she's in there with a lot of good talent, and Stardom just loves to book her prominently. I think you're a fool if you don't bet on Julia to win, possibly even just red block, not even the entire tournament. If you're not betting on Julia, the best person to bet on is obviously Mayu Iwatani, but I believe Julia is making it to that final round. I personally don't want to see her in the finals, but I think she's the most likely. If not Julia, personal pick, Starlight Kid, definitely. And for Blue Stars, it really boils down to either Yutaka Hayashida or Siori. I think it may come down to either a tie or 1 point above, and that 1 point above for me is going to be Siori. She has one of the best stories going in Stardom right now, coming out of that match with Yutaka Hayashida, them having at least 3 matches, and all of them really being almost nearly time limit draw, no contest. I mean, Siori has 1 victory, but that's by elimination. She has yet to pin or submit Utami. I think they may yet to keep that going in this 5-Star Grand Prix, because I honestly don't think Siori is going to even beat Utami in this 5-Star Grand Prix. But I do see Siori actually winning the block and possibly going on to face Utami at a later date. And that's what I get into who I think will win the tournament between my predicted red block winner Julia and my predicted blue block winner Siori. I predict Siori will be the winner of the 5-Star Grand Prix. The story is set, and it would be almost criminal if Siori does not win the 5-Star Grand Prix this year. Last year, she was not really in that spot she's in right now. I don't really see who else benefits from winning the tournament. I think she's the only correct answer to go with. Personal pick, once again, I would still go with Siori. I mean, Azumi and Sayakamatani are my favorites, but I don't think it's their time yet, especially Sayakamatani. She really just had 2 title shots. She doesn't need to win this and get another. She can get another by winning something. Azumi, maybe next year. I think this year definitely belongs to Siori. She's my pick to win the 5-Star Grand Prix. But what do you guys think? Who is your pick to win the 5-Star Grand Prix? Comment down below. Let your boy know. This is one of the longest videos I've done in a long time. I had to do a lot of work to get into this. So please, do me a favor. Smash the like button and share the hell of this video going into the 5-Star Grand Prix, and make sure you tune back here to this channel for coverage of the 5-Star Grand Prix as the month of August, September goes on, leading into New Japan's G1 Climax. And that is all, guys. I'm out of here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next week. Peace out, guys.